County Watch. As I said earlier today, we are going to focus on Nandi County this Wednesday morning. Every Wednesday, every week, this is how we do it. County Watch coming in to entertain you and to give you more feedback concerning what's happening within your county. Now, this morning, I'm joined by Honorable Emmanuel Rono, towards my father's left. He is MCA Olesos Ward and also the chair for the education and vocational training. Thank you very much, Honorable, for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Ram.
I'm also joined towards my my left, Honorable Gedion Koech. He is the MCA of Nandi Hills and the ward chair of implementation committee. Thank you very much for joining me this morning.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Now, if at all you would like to be part of this conversation, the hashtag to use is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter, at KBC Television, at Ram Aguko, at J Nombui. County Watch begins now. The county of Nairobi, of Nandi rather, has 39 representatives, 30 elected and 9 nominated. So far, how is it working in Nandi County? Your term is, we can say rather you are in the middle of the term. What is the status of Nandi County? I will start with you, Honorable.
Thank you, Ram. I would say that currently we have a very good working relationship as honorable members of Nandi County Assembly. Our interest is best represented in the fact that all of us, we have a common constituent, that is Nandi County, a county that all of us belong to, that needs to be built on the basis of the aspiration of devolution. So currently we are up to the task, working hand in hand.
Can you say that Nandi County so far is doing well?
So far is doing well. Of course, when we say doing well, we cannot underscore the challenges that comes with the implementation in as far as devolution is concerned.
How is it working in Nandi County?
Ram, so far I can say Nandi is doing good, but we want Nandi to do better and we want Nandi to do the best for its people. Yeah, we are 1 year going to the 2nd year. And we are still struggling with the structural issues, structural problems that we inherited from the past. So we are trying to fill in the gaps that existed. It's more costly than starting from ground zero.
Now, even as you talk about structural review and things that you've inherited in the past, devolution, are things devolved within the county?
Yes. Yeah, things have evolved, legally, constitutionally devolved.
But we had the devolution conference that took place a while back last week, and seemingly, I don't know what you would say about the devolution conference. Were you satisfied with your presentation at the conference?
I would say that, first of all, the best devolution is the best thing that ever happened to Kenya. We've seen progress in areas that would have not seen were it not for devolution.
So so far devolution, you are
yes,
okay?
In as far as the devolution conference is concerned, it is also important to always be taking stock. I might be having a different view on how we should be doing the same, but it's a fact that we need to be having a conversation every other year on the progress we have made so far in as far as devolution is concerned. But having said that, we need to acknowledge as a people, as a country, that devolution is indeed the best thing that ever happened, as was testified during the devolution conference, looking at various counties and the progress they are making. So I would say devolution is the best thing and it is working.
Now, seemingly, or maybe your Nandi Senator Kiprotich Cherangai would disagree with what you're saying. And I quote, he said, "I am appalled with my governor, especially because he decided to take calabashes and skin worn by men during circumcision events to the devolution conference. It's unfortunate we had nothing to show about devolution." So seemingly your own senator disagrees that devolution is happening within your county.
Devolution is happening You
But
asked
but
about,
with the display that you
yes.
had, because I had asked about your satisfaction with what you displayed at the conference, you said you're satisfied and you're okay with it.
Unfortunately, first of all, my senator did not attend the devolution conference in Kirinyaga. But I must say I attended the Nandi County stand. What the senator is referring to is not our county stand. He's referring to Wazingishu stand at the conference. I did went to the stand, the Nandi County stand, on the last day, on Thursday. Unfortunately, at the time I went to the stand, there was nothing to display. I was disappointed too at the stand. There was nothing
So
the last day.
So in terms of devolution, you had nothing to display.
There was nothing. I must say there was nothing.
Yet you say that so far devolution is happening within your county. And
yes, it is. It is. The fact that there was no display at the devolution conference could be a feedback on other issues rather than whether devolution is working in Nandi County or not. Devolution is working. About the conference, Honorable Koech is saying we could have a different view of how the conference should be done. For me, seeing the common people of Kirinyaga, for example, being locked out of the conference because they could not pay the 20,000 shillings is in itself feedback enough for the county, the COG, Council of Governors, to do something about the conference, because each of us was required to pay 20,000 shillings.
Which is too much.
Yeah, too much. And the people of Kenya should not pay to get feedback on what their county governments are doing.
But they're paying to get feedback so that they can, in terms of development. Is development happening in Nandi County, especially in your ward?
Okay, let me say that we have witnessed within the past 1.5 years or so tremendous improvement in terms of development, if I can say, in my ward. But before that, I want to say that in the comments made by the senator, in as far as the display in the county stand, it's unfortunate that he did not attend, and I would say that as leaders we need to be offering solution, not lamenting. Secondly,
but was his lamentation something that can be verified, justifiable?
Secondly, even if we were to display such in a devolution conference, it's a fact that we need to appreciate the diverse culture that we are having in this country and turn it positively, to use it for the sake of bringing cohesion in this country. Having said that, for development, I have seen the opening up of roads in areas that no mwananchi would have expected, were it not for the aspect of devolution. Secondly, we have seen an improvement even in an facelift of Nandi Sub-County Hospital, which ordinarily was a pale shadow of itself. But the current progress there, including the renovation, the expansion of outpatient, where you would find patients come and crowd in a small section. But currently there is an upgrade and expansion of OPD in adults.
When you say that there is an upgrade, you mean the hospital is doing well and facilitations are there, everything is working out to the best, at optimum efficiency?
We cannot say at optimum efficiency. We are 1 year into, 1.5 years into this administration. If we rate the current happenings in Nandils versus the 1.5 year we have been in office, we are doing well, above average, and I am saying the facility is not working optimally because of how we found the state. But currently, even the services have improved, despite the few challenges in sometimes inadequate drugs and the likes. We have seen tremendous improvement in the institution overall.
When you talk about a few challenges, and you give an example of inadequate supply of drugs, you are aware that there are some patients who went to the referral to that hospital that is in Kapsabet, rather, And, there are patients who complained of lack of facilitation. They say that the medical practitioners who are there, doctors, nurses, do not attend to them well. What would you say concerning that?
Ram, let me admit that there is a big problem with the human resource culture. As much as you have the infrastructure, you have the MRI machines, you have the dialysis machines, but there is a gap here because of the human resource culture that has been passed on decades and decades. So the personnel have not changed. You could
so if the personnel, what has changed so far that you can say that now we have improved?
We are focusing so much on infrastructure. We are focusing so much on drugs and such like pharmaceuticals, but we are not focusing on the culture of the personnel. Because as you say, we have cases where patients have been taken to the hospitals and are not being attended to. Of course, we must admit that some patients are being still referred to the neighboring county of Uasin Gishu, especially the national run hospital, Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. It's unfortunate. What we must address now at this level is the human resource culture. Why are these medical personnel, the clinicians, the nurses, why are still behaving the way they do? That is where the big elephant is. We must address that issue.
You are in the implementation committee, and in fact the chair of the implementation committee. There are many projects that you had started. In terms of now the committee overlooking into these projects, how far are you?
Thank you so much. I think, as you've mentioned, I'm the chair implementation committee, whose responsibility is actually to look into and see that all the House resolutions, be it motions, be it reports, be it statements, are responded to by the executive. I would say that the backlog we have in matters implementation has been actually what we inherited from the previous administration. And I'm happy that as a committee, we have done our own assessment, and we will be tabling the report before the assembly probably next week. In regard to projects that were started in the previous administration that are stalled, you would look at every ward having up to not less than 4 or 5 projects. But these were subject to the audit queries because as an administration, new administration, when the governor took over, he instituted a task force to look into these issues so that they can be, those that the Wananchi got value for the money could be actually paid and completion of the projects undertaken. It's unfortunate that the Office of the Auditor General instituted another audit when the task force formed by the governor had given its report. And they recently, of course, we are still waiting to be given the report at the assembly. They recently had an advisory that only those projects that has been verified should be paid for and actually completed.
Could there be projects that took off but were not verified?
We have scenarios where, in fact, there were proclamation of us, and the previous administration there were declaration, road declaration that this road would be constructed. A contractor was picked from just from that particular instant, given the mandate to
Who picked the contractor?
We have been hearing of stories of even MCAs handpicking
your fellow MCAs,
former MCAs picking the contractors and assigning them some roads to construct.
Now, there's something that is coming out during, even as we continue with this discussion. One, you blame the former regime, the former leadership that was there. Two, you blame other fellow MCAs. What have you done when it comes to bringing solutions to the table?
I can tell you for sure that we have constantly been following up all the projects we have assigned, we have budgeted for between when we came in to this far. Even recently, we were looking at summoning all the CCs to explain and give a report You know, the role of the MCA is to do oversight. Having done the representation in matters budgeting, what remains of us for the rest of the year is to make sure that these projects are actually implemented.
But are they going to be implemented?
So far, for instance, I've talked of my ward, things that are happening in Nandi's sub-county referral hospital, the kind of road networks we are opening up, renovation of some dispensaries. So, for instance, the first year we did in every ward 4 roads that were completed.
What about the ongoing bridge works that the one that at Chemwana Bay Bridge?
That is in Nandi's ward. It
Yes.
was an emergency case of scenario where it was previously done to some percentage by the Nandi Tea Estate.
Previously
And,
again?
Previously. But during this administration, we saw it fit to fix it once and for all because that was the material that was used then was just timber. And you know that that one can easily get worn out. So this administration, when we came in, we identified that as an emergency situation, and I can tell you for sure right now that bridge is already completed and the residents are enjoying the fruits of devolution as we speak.
Do you also blame the former regime for everything that is happening?
No.
You came to a county that is having a lot of problems.
Yeah, a lot of problems, but I cannot lump, because government is progressive. Government has to inherit. There were handover notes from the past. Let me give an example of projects which are handed over, but they have not been done. For example, in my ward, there's a road called Olduga Sochoi. It was allocated money in 2016, 2017. It's until 3 months ago that it was done. So we have, we inherited hell of incomplete work, undone work. So as the oversight side of government, we have had a lot of work.
Projects like the governor's office? What's happening with that?
It's a big elephant. In fact, myself, if the people of Nandi and the people of Kenya can go into records, I raised a statement on the same, which was not responded adequately. The project has already swallowed 172 million, and now it's told, not in the 2018 budget, not in the 2019-20 budget, nobody's talking about. The governor himself has said a task force will give a report on it.
When it comes to 172 million, that's not pocket change, if I would use that term. So, and yet the project has stalled. And this is just one example. What assurance can you give Nandi County members or Nandi County citizens, people who stay there, residents from Nandi County, that we don't have other projects that have costed even billions, not even millions, that have stalled? Because seemingly 172, don't you think that one was a waste?
I can tell you for sure that, Ram, as you've said, there are other projects. I have mentioned earlier, as the chair implementation and as our committee, we have done our own assessment and we have projects, not less than 5, be it water projects, be it health, be it road. The total, as per the task force report, the total sum of the projects under the pending bills is around 700 million. And this includes also the governor's office. And the challenge we have had, as Honorable Mengech has said, sometimes even as the statement is sought, we as the implementation committee, we've made follow-up, written letters to the executive. Sometimes they don't respond. Sometimes they respond in a very flimsy way. And that is why we are saying, as an oversight team, we are trying our best to make sure that we keep this, the administration, the executive, on their toes to be able to deliver. Because oversight is done at the assembly level, in the statement that we are being sought, in the response and the likes. That is where we want to stick, to make sure that we use the platform that the people of Nandi County gave us to make sure that we get value for the money.
So on that, Ram, before you proceed on the governor's office, we have received conflicting information, not official, but we want to assure the people of Nandi that that building is going to be completed.
How will it be completed? 172 million has already gone down the drain. Do you need another 172 plus million to complete it?
We need the independent bodies like the NCA to give an honest opinion.
What do you mean by honest opinion?
I mean, they do the assessment, they do the assessment, and then they give us a report. That is what we have been waiting for. So that, because some people are saying the building is condemned because it has structural issues, which we cannot confirm until NCA.
50,000 children in Nandi ECD programs have got poor learning conditions. And here we're talking about the projects that are there. When it comes to facilities, something like as small or as big, rather, as a classroom.
Yeah, as the chair of education and vocational training, first of all, when this government came in, the design of the ECD classrooms was said that they build one classroom per center. But when it came in, with the discussion with the executive, we said we are not going to proceed with that design. We said we are going to design a complete ECD center. That is 2 classrooms as per the curriculum, with offices, with a playing ground.
But all those that you're talking about, those are just discussions that
so that is where I'm coming to. Right now, in the 2017-2018, we've had ongoing projects, 2 ECD centers per ward. Yes. Unfortunately, that model of constructing ECD center has been very slow. I can confirm that less than 10 have been completed.
Why has it been slow?
It has been slow because of the bureaucratic processes. For example, the model relies on transportation of materials by the Department of Roads. That has hampered the whole process. Now, what we are now in the 2018-2019, we have changed the model, the construction model. Committees are going to be given resources, financial resources, so that they can construct ECD centers. This model is borrowed from West Pokot County, where they were able to do 111 ECD classrooms within 4 months.
But how are you going to substantiate this? And I would like to give examples here. The status of Martin Luther King Primary School.
Yes.
Kimenjeshwa Primary School. Keep the best primary school. Just to mention 3, they are all in pathetic state. But you claim that you're doing something. There is nothing seen on the ground.
Admittedly, we have had a problem with that model of constructing ECD centers. That is why we had to push the executive to change the model. Because when we came in, the governor's manifesto was that we reduce costing in construction of ECD. So along the way, we accepted the new model of allowing vocational training centers to construct ECD centers. That has slowed down the progress. We must admit that there were flaws in that process. That is why those centers...
At the expense of our children who spend cold days in learning in pathetic conditions, you're saying it's because of bureaucracy? Don't you think you have the powers to change something as quick as possible, being that you're the chair of education and vocational training?
And that is what we have done. As the chair, I pushed through and we passed a policy around November.
But seemingly there's nothing substantial.
It's coming up now. We need time, because this financial year, 2018-2019, we are going to construct another 60 using the new model, where project committees are...
What about the ones that already exist, like Martin Luther King Primary School? What are you going to do about that?
For your information, we have summoned the CC and a team to come tomorrow, on Thursday, tomorrow, to see the committee, why the projects have been slowed down, why they are not complete, why others have not started. We are doing our part as the oversight.
As I said, as the representative of the people, we need to be part of the solution. That is why, as an assembly, we push through to make sure that we change the model when we realized that it was not working for the benefit of the people of Nandi County. Change the model from contracting to making sure that we channel the funds. If it is 1 million or 2 million, we channel all the funds to a committee in that particular school to be able to construct the the ECD centers.
And you've mentioned something about the funds, and I will be coming back there in a little bit. I would like you to be part of this conversation. The hashtag to use is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter, at KBC Television, at Ram Aguko, on Twitter, also at Jane Ombui. Now, you've mentioned about the funding there. And on lesson word, there is an issue of Keben Dam. And this dam has been suspended due to corruption allegation issues. Also the issues with CSR on tea campaigns and land leases.
Maybe you can start with the Keben Dam because it's in my ward.
Yes.
Ram, for the people of Nandi and Kenya, we have a big problem. First of all, this project has taken years. It was first muted in 2004. That is 15 years down the line.
Factually, why was it muted?
Yeah, and then the whole process, first of all, let's start from the start. The original design was under National Irrigation Board. Now it has taken so many years down the line. Last year, on 6th April 2018, the contract between Lake Victoria North Water Services Board and Guangxi Hydroelectric Company was signed from the website of Lake Victoria North. The project was supposed to take off 3 months later. Unfortunately, on 9th, around 10 days ago, the consultant and Lake Victoria North came to Keben and Lesos.
Have you also involved your Member of Parliament, Alfred Keter?
Yeah, we are in constant talk.
But so many years have gone down the line, and from what you have been saying since we started this conversation, you've been talking about previous regimes having failed, and now you're trying to clean up. So many years have gone, and now you are here. Don't you think that at some point you'll also set record as part of the regime that has failed Nandi County?
No, we can't. Let me first of all talk about Keben Dam. Keben Dam, as I said, the contract was signed on 6th April. That is almost 1 year down the line. 10 days ago, the consultant and the Lake Victoria North Water Services Board, they came to do what they call the environmental and social impact of the project. Of course, we raised a few questions, including why the irrigation component was removed from the original design. You see, Ram, if we are talking about Big Four, and one of the Big Four agenda is food security, we cannot talk about food security without irrigation. Like
Which we have problems with irrigation within the county.
Yes.
Also at the same time.
Yeah, you know, there's a fallacy that it rains throughout the year in Nandi County. That is not true. We have up to 5 months of dry weather. So, first of all, when they came, we told them we want the original design. And then the unfortunate part of the project is that there are conflicting figures. There are conflicting figures. From the media, we see 4.2 million. From Lake Victoria North, it is 7.7 billion. And it has now been reduced to a water supply project. The project itself would save over 60% of the residents of Nandi. But
now, these are information that you're getting from media and other sources. But you are on the ground. Shouldn't you know the figures? The figure, being that you are talking about your own ward, your own county.
The figure, the original figure, is 7.7 billion.
So I think my comments on this Keben Dam is that it has taken unnecessarily too long. And as you've mentioned, if this project was muted in 2004, promised the previous regime between 2013 and 2017, I would say that this is an important project to Nandi County, as has been said by my colleague, Honorable Mengech, that it will solve the 60% of the water needs in Nandi County. I am keenly following this because this is meant to supply water to Nandi Hills Town. And I would say that this project should have taken off. But I must say that all these projects
should have.
Yes, should have taken off.
Meaning
because
it hasn't.
It hasn't taken off
Since you came into office.
As you've heard, public participation for the issues of environmental was done just 2 weeks ago, when it was mentioned 5 years down the line.
Since you came into office as members of County Assembly, when you have projects like the Keben Dam being stalled, you complain that it has been there for many years. What assurance are you going to give Kenyans that you're the one who is going to change the system?
First of all, Ram, let me say this. The fact that we receive conflicting figures from the media and elsewhere means that the whole project is questionable. That is why I saw Parliament has suspended all dam projects in Kenya, including Keben, which would save the people. Here we have come, we have been embroiled in so many issues that don't involve us. I would want to see Keben Dam address the water shortages in Nandi County. Like if you go to Kapsabet town in the morning, you'd be surprised to see donkeys carrying jerry cans of water, something which should not be happening in Nandi County. We want to see this project take off. Unfortunately, the intrigues involving dams in Kenya are seen that it's a cash cow. That is why we are receiving conflicting figures. And then full disclosure has not been done on the project. And myself, I gave a memorandum on behalf of the people of Lesos Ward, one of which addresses the issue of, number one, that the irrigation component must be there. Number two, CSR project. These are a lot of money. We need a CSR project, which we addressed. And number three, we need KFS, because the forest is going to, trees are going to be cut down. So we have addressed that the forest resources be given to the community around there.
When you talk about these issues to do the CSR and there's also the tea companies and land leasing, what is the status and what have you done to make things better?
I think just before I comment on the issue of CSR, which is I brought a motion to the county assembly on the same, because we come from tea growing areas.
Which at some point we are having issues with that.
Yes, but on the issue of Keben Dam and issues to do with water generally, this was a subject of discussion in the devolution conference. You would wonder why a fully devolved component of water, we still have national government agencies running the same. The situation we are found in as members of county assembly, for instance, I am a member of the Lands, Environment and Water Committee in the county assembly. But issues to do with water, especially these authorities, Lake Basin and the likes, Water Services Trust, these are institutions that are bestowed on the national government.
What are you doing to bring water back in Nandi?
It is paramount that as the national government should commit to fully devolve, and in fact, if they need these agencies to still run, they should be fully managed from the county, because we are being asked questions that are best answered in Nairobi, and yet we are in Nandi. We are in Nandi. So that is a challenge. Is there water shortage in Nandi? There is water shortage in Nandi.
And what have you done to correct that?
That is why in the county budget we are allocating resources to water projects. But the magnitude of the project of the Keben Dam, Nandi County receives 7 billion in total, including the recurrent expenditure. If we are to make sure that we supply water to Nandi County, that means we stay without salary for the entire year. The entire workforce of Nandi County stay without salary so that the water project can be completed.
To interject around to what Honorable Koech said, you asked what we are doing. For your example, in the in the supplementary budget, we moved 128 million shillings.
From the county assembly.
Yeah, from the county assembly project to water projects.
Your senator, Cherangai Kiprotich, said that the governor, your governor, Governor Sang, cannot, and the administration has failed to account for 13 million Kenya shillings. How much revenue are you collecting as a county, and what do you say concerning these allegations?
Ram, now that you're asking that question, it is purely under my docket. That is education. That was bursary. In fact, Gerard Gay picked it from the media. He does not have the facts. Let me give the Kenyan public the facts.
So, and this is the second instance that you're saying the senator does not have the facts and he has not been on the ground.
Yeah,
so everything he says are not factual.
As much as he's trying to play his role as a senator oversighting the county governments, let me say this. He picked that information from the media. We raised the issue. In fact, as we talk, money, 10 million shillings, was transferred from bursary, the NASEF account, to Impress account. And the money was brought back. For your information, as a committee, we did our work. The county assembly passed a report where the fund manager was removed from office. That has happened. And officers who are accused of having paid chiefs the money has been refunded. So the 13 million was brought back. Yes.
Are members of your county assembly benefiting from funds at the expense of ward development?
I think just maybe to take you back a little bit on the issue of CSR before I respond to that question. I am alive to the fact that I am the elected representative of Nandi Hills Ward, which is actually largely covered by tea. I am keenly following the aspect of CSR. I did brought a motion to the county assembly that was passed unanimously by the Nandi County Assembly on establishment of CSR policy by the county government of Nandi. I am happy to report that I'm also the chair implementation committee, and we did a letter just a week ago to the CEC Finance to request for the progress report in matters related to establishment of the CSR policy. This is something that we keenly following to make sure that we have a CSR policy that will see Nandi people benefit from the tea estate proceeds at the same time as we pursue the land injustices. And I'm happy that even during the governor's address recently, he noted that the National Land Commission has agreed with the issues raised by the people of Nandi County. One aspect that I largely disagree in the aspect that the National Land Commission recommended that a survey be done on this multinational to get residue. It is a total abuse to the people of Nandi County to just talk of residue, the small pieces of land that we will get from the surveyed land, but we need to get to the bottom of these injustices, and we are following keenly as an assembly. On the issue of getting money from projects, when we came in as an administration, as MCS, we said that the public must be constantly involved.
Not just getting money from projects, I'm talking about benefiting from the funds that were meant for development projects.
I'm saying this, I can confirm that when we came in, we said that every other project that is to be implemented by the county government of Nandi, at the initial stage, the public must be made aware of the allocation and the scope of work. That is why we have done constant, even for the road networks that we have been improving. And we have done public participation to tell the people as a representative that this is the allocation for this particular project, this is the scope of work, and we have constantly made follow-up.
So
we cannot rule out.
You've not yet put out your hand within the cookie jar to take
we have
any
not,
funds.
and we can. Of course, we cannot rule out any other malpractice by other cadres, but I'm saying,
what about yourself?
As a representative, we have made sure that the public knows exactly if a project costs 2 million, it must be clearly enumerated to the public to know that this is 2 million meant for this project, Galfats goes with this, the maraming, grading, and the likes.
What is the cost for the actual cost for the dam that is supposed to be finished?
That's why I'm saying those are information within Lake Victoria North and the national government agencies.
Which
I'm
you don't
saying,
have.
You ask me of issues to do with the Nandi County budget that we passed. I can clearly mention, especially from my ward. But when issues to do with the national government support, supported projects,
It's beyond you.
It should be addressed at a higher level.
Ram, let me say this. There are so many issues coming up here. Let me start with the issue of CSR. Somebody has stolen your goat, and the same person is giving you the head and the hooves and telling you must appreciate that. We are not even talking about CSR when it comes to tea plantations by multinationals.
So someone steals your goat and gives you the head.
And the head and the hooves and says you must appreciate that. We are not even talking about CSR. As Honorable Koech said, the issue of tea plantations, the leases are coming to an end. And the National Land Commission has said that leases will not be renewed until all the issues have been addressed. In disagreement with some of the issues, what Honorable Koech said, that we are going to resurvey and then see the small areas, portions that can remain. That is not the issue. The land belongs to the people of Nandi. And the people of Nandi, because this was coerced leasing.
So these surveys, they are unnecessary.
They have read so many things. I think it was meant to please some, because the National Land Commissioner were exiting, they were meant to pacify. So on that note,
are members of the County Assembly benefiting from these funds?
Not at all.
Then, Why do we have the Tariq MCA, Osborne Komen, who said that the assembly has fallen into the trap of passing the budget because of vested interests and the tyranny of numbers?
Yes. Admittedly, RAM.
So you admit that members are benefiting?
Not members.
Who?
A few individuals.
A few individuals belonging to which
yes.
group?
The manipulation, the manipulative kind of politics that has seen the powers that be manipulate so that their issues are passed.
Define a few individuals.
I would not name names, but I'm saying there has been manipulation. For the past 1 year, I've seen it, some members being manipulated.
Maybe to respond to that, I can tell you for a fact that all of us are elected from certain wards. It is the responsibility of each and every MCA to make sure that the priority projects enumerated by the people during the CIDP process are budgeted for. As an MCA from Nandi, I cannot wholesomely or collectively condemn the entire assembly for a project in my ward that I didn't fight to make sure that it's budgeted.
We have a comment from Corneli, who says, Mengech, to talk about the county machinery bill he recently moved in the county assembly. What problem was he trying to address? Are county road machineries being misused?
Thank you, Ram. It is a serious issue. I came up with a motion called the County Roads Management Unit. With hindsight that we procured machines worth over 320 million, a lot of money. In the past 1 year, we have used 200 million to service and run the machines. Yet, we don't get value for money. The roads have not improved 1 year later. So I came up because we want to address how the machines are managed. The national government has Kura, Kera, Kena, which are independent parastatals. So I wanted a unit that will be independent of the political class or the executive wing. I want a unit that will be professionally run so that the machines can do the roads in record time, because we have had so many issues, including broken down machinery, fuel shortages, which is a serious issue, and yet the roads have not been done. Like now, by April, we shall not be doing any roads. Reason being, heavy rains will hamper the construction of roads. The machines have been managed poorly. That is why I came up with the unit.
So are county machineries being misused? You've
yes.
not yet answered the question.
Yes, they are being misused.
I think all of us supported unanimously the proposal by Honorable Mengech to set up a county road unit, basically to address all these challenges, because we've seen that sometimes there is maybe a grader or a doser in my ward, for instance, and just the blink of a phone call, the machine is ordered out of Nandils to a very far end in Jepterua, the farthest end of the county.
And all these things are beyond your power.
Not taking into consideration the kind of fuel it uses. If we have a department that fully manages this, we can have a situation where if there is an emergency in Jepterua, for instance, then a machine that is nearer to that place can go and address that situation.
But you do have the facilitation to manage these things, because you can be able to do that.
That is why we are saying we are not that kind of an institution, an assembly that just lament. We have noted the problem, and that is why we are proposing to have a county road unit to address this issue.
Yet another problem that you're proposing to solve.
It's a problem, and you must agree with us, Ram, that all these things and the role that we have as an assembly is to facilitate the executive to run smoothly and address the issues that the people of Nandi County want to be addressed.
Many things are not yet ready. Bridges, walls, roads, from wards to the facility, and many more.
Rome was not built in 1 day, and you must. That's why we are identifying and enumerating the projects that are already up and running, because you cannot expect the county to build roads, construct dispensaries, do ECDs all in 1 year, of being in office. It's a progressive thing. And with the limitation of resources that the national government, in fact, as a proposal, if I would be asked what we want so that this country can be as inclusive as much as possible, not the issues of the politics. The issue of inclusivity can only be addressed if we channel more resources to the counties and make sure that we empower these particular counties to run well.
What about the improvement of the bus park at Nandi Hills? What have you done on that? And how are you going to handle Matatu and border operators?
I think that I must admit that we have had a very close touch consultation with the Matatu industry in Nandi Hills. And I must give it to the sub-county administrator in Nandi Hills that we worked closely and make sure that we engage not only the Matatu sector but even the business community in Nandi Hills. The aspect or the aspiration of this environment, business environment in Nandi Hills, was actually to make sure that we facilitate. That is why we have that pass back in Nandi Hills that is said to be tarmac. It was done halfway previously in the 2017-2018 budget, not actual 2018-2019 budget, and we have also done some allocation in the supplementary budget to have it tarmac so that it can be a very good place. And I think not only that, we've also done beautification within the Nandi Hills town. We have done pavement in Nandi Hills town. Those are things that improve the business environment so that more investors can come in.
How much revenue are you giving out as Nandi County?
From last year, it was around 289 million.
Mm-hmm. Half year collection is around 80. From 89. The CFS fee that we are given the other day, it is around 89. We are falling short of the target.
Projections.
But seemingly, the current expenditure in this 2018-2019 budget estimates at around 5.1 billion.
That is for 2019-2020. That is the biggest issue we have. We are in total disagreement.
And that is translated to 63% of your total revenue?
Yes.
Not actually 60.
Not
actually, it is a total of 81%
of the total budget.
CFS.
And you're doing nothing concerning?
We are doing it. We are doing it. We are in the process. We have just finished discussing the CFSP. By the end of this week, we shall be able to adopt or reject the CFSP because the PFM Act is very clear.
Repeat that what you've said again. By the end of this week?
Yes. We are either going to adopt the CFSP or reject it based on the fact that it's beyond the minimum percentage for development, which is supposed to be at least 30%.
You will be held accountable according to
I think the basis of the CFSP in law is that we must adopt it before 14 days after we've received it. And I think the best thing is that the current CFSP must be approved by the Assembly with amendments to make sure that the allocation to the development vote should be 30%. That's why we must amend the current CFSP to make sure that 30% of development is 70% rule is.
Ram, we cannot have a county where, as the president addressed during the Kirinyaga conference, where you are using 600 million to oversight 800 million. We are not going to spend 5-point-something billion for recurrent expenditure at the expense of development. That cannot happen. As Honorable Koech said, we are going to amend as a county assembly. That is where the power of the Nandi people lies.
What about your mortuaries? What is the status? We have a comment here by Kipsongok from Nandi Hills, who specifically from Nandi Hills, and says that your mortuaries lack fridges.
I think it's true. It lacks fridges because it is a construction that we've done the other day. And I must say that it was done perfectly. We've assessed severally, and it's due for handover, I think, in the next 1 or 2 weeks. But we need to allocate, that was construction. We need now, in the supplementary, we had allocation for buying the fridges.
You had an allocation.
Yes.
What happened to the allocation?
It is there. It is there. It's actually subject to the procurement process.
But how are Nandi County residents going to survive if they lack something as simple as a fridge within the mortuary? How then do you store them?
Ram, let me give my experience. 4 years ago, I attended a burial in my neighborhood 4 years ago. And when the deceased's body was brought, there was an instant conflict between the members of the between the members of the family. Mm-hmm. Reason being, one of the members was saying, the deceased body was not well preserved. It was just thrown because it was looking bad. I must admit what Honorable Koech said. We have come from a rotten past.
Remember, this is 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
And for 4 years, you've done nothing.
Kipsongok,
now,
who has just
right now, we are lacking a fridge 4 years ago.
No, right now, I must tell you, I can admit and tell you that in Nandi Hills, they have built a state-of-the-art morgue.
A morgue without a fridge?
No, I mean it's a process. It's a process. As Honorable Koech said.
How do you have a morgue without a fridge?
No, I mean it's a process.
Is the morgue more important than the fridge or vice versa?
No, I mean this is a building which has just been completed. Now the next step of bringing in bridges. How could you bring fridges before the building?
How long do you need to have fridges?
Let me say this. Let me give you chronology of events.
Yes.
The kind of morgue that Nandi Hills had since independence to when we came into office was just a holding room.
Again, you talk about
I want to give you so that you appreciate the fact that we came in with enthusiasm and with the urge to make sure that we address the issues that people of Nandi County want. Because that 4 by 3 meters room, but currently from the 2017-2018 budget, we have built a morgue that can accommodate more than 50 bodies that go. After building, you must now have funds to make sure that it is equipped. And that's why I'm saying in the supplementary budget that we passed the other day, we have an allocation to equip the morgue. That has not, the contractor has not even handed over to the county. So we cannot buy fridges to a facility that is not complete.
How long do you need to get the fridges?
I think before the end of this financial year, the facility will be up and running.
Between now and the end of the financial year, how will the residents of Nandi County be handling their...
I think we have a morgue in Kapsabet.
They'll have to go all the way to Kapsabet.
And that has been the practice ever since independence, and we just came in 2 years ago.
So since it was the practice since independence, therefore your leadership does not make any difference.
No, we are making be honest, yes. Be honest, because we have addressed that we have built.
You say since it has been the practice since independence, then let's relax.
We are not relaxing. That is why there is a budget already for the fridges, and the facility has already been built. So we cannot say we are relaxing. Okay. We are doing what the people of Nandi County elected us to do. I am doing what the people of Nandi Hills elected me to do, to make sure that we have funds for projects in my ward and it is completed within the specified time.
What are you doing to give residents of Nandi County proper security?
Proper security. Of course, as you know, the Constitution is very clear. Security belongs to the national government in Nairobi, here in Nairobi.
So you talk about the national government and not the county government?
Yeah, it's not the county government.
So it's not your responsibility?
It isn't at any level. It isn't at any level our business. Maybe the only thing I can say about security...
So you're saying it's not at any point or at any level your business if we have a 12-year-old girl in Bondeni village who was allegedly defiled by a chief. It is none of your business.
It is our business.
Then, then what is none of your business?
I mean,
what is your business?
the whole architecture of security in Kenya is a preserve of the national government. Let me say this, Ram. Insecurity is more than a police station, it's more than guns, it's more than armory. It is about the social structure. You see, when the social structure fails, that is when we have a chief defiling a 12-year-old kid. I'm happy that so many leaders, including women legislators from the County Assembly and the National Assembly, came up in arms. And the chief has already been arraigned in court and is out on bail. So I think that one has been addressed.
Out on bail, and you believe that has been addressed?
It is. It is a process of justice.
Yes.
As per the law.
Okay, is it in the process of justice or it has been addressed
It's
clearly
a process of
distinguished?
justice.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he was in court and he has been released on bail is a process. It's a process.
What would you say? There's a senator for Isiolo, if I'm not wrong, who proposed in Parliament that, and this is just something that maybe I can get your opinion on, that people or anyone accused of rape should have their private parts cut off. What would you say on that? Would you support that bill?
We need harsh penalty for such criminals, and I think there was an unfortunate incident. We must first of all clearly we say that we still wish the kid well as she recovers, but it is an unfortunate incident, and there should be harsh penalties.
Not releasing them on bail.
In fact, I am against the fact that such people are allowed bail or bond, because if you are accused, it is known that you've done these acts, and to achieve. I don't think even the magistrate that handled that case consider the magnitude of that offense, because that one calls for, that is somebody who holds an authority, who has some connection. That person should not have been allowed to be out on bail.
Then aren't you contradicting yourself by saying that what has been done, and it's a process of justice, yet at the same time you're saying that you are not satisfied?
The law provides that anyone can apply for bail or bond and is released. But we are saying, on the other end, you must address the legal part of it. At the same time, look at the overall picture. So that's why I'm saying the magistrate that handled that case should have also considered the fact that this is somebody who holds an authority and can use that authority to influence and the case should not have been released.
How are your county staff workers going on so far?
So far, let me say this, generally, some workers are doing well.
Some?
Yes, they are remunerated well, like the nurses. That issue was addressed. Unfortunately, let me say this, we still have a problem with the human resources, as I said earlier. Yeah, some people wake up in the morning to earn a salary. They don't wake up to serve the people of Nandi.
Over 800 early childhood development education teachers have cried foul when it comes to their payment and the terms of the contract by the county government. What have you done to solve this?
Yeah, the contracts were renewed. I can confirm that. Unfortunately, the pay is meager. The pay is meager.
10,000
As the chair
shillings.
of education, I'm pushing through for a scheme of service. Yes, we are in talks with the executive so that they can have a scheme of service.
But I think we must give it to this administration. That's why I'm saying if we don't have an history of where we are coming from, we cannot count the steps that we have taken. For instance, there are 1,300 staff, over 1,000 that we inherited from the previous regime, some of who were being paid 5 M-Pesa before we came in. But after the governor instituted the whole issue of audit of that staff, he gave them a 1-year contract. That recently they have been given a 3-year contract with improved terms, in the sense that they considered also education. Some were degree holders, but they were earning 13,000. But currently a degree holder is earning 32,000. A diploma holder is around 22, with certificate 18, in that manner. So as much as we have challenges where we have some staff who are not rendering the intended service to the people of Nandi County, as an administration where we are part of it, we've been able to make sure that we have these improved terms of service for their staff so that they can boost their morale.
How is the handshake working out for you?
Handshake, I can say that's basically the president and the former prime minister had some issues to do with bringing the country together. But from where I sit personally, I don't see, I have not seen it achieving much, because there have been serious antagonism in this issue of handshake. And as a matter of fact, if we need, as I said, we need inclusivity in this country, the greatest weapon that we can use to bring inclusivity is devolution, not the top kind of negotiation. And as was addressed during the devolution conference, if we empower the devolved units, we will not be having this even fight about who is the president and who is not the president. So to me, it achieved some sense of tranquility in the country for some few kind of months here and there. But the trajectory that is taking currently is like bringing some quota into the table of decision making and pushing the other quarter.
So when you talk about some quarter and
yes.
pushing the other quarter,
yeah. Because we should not be speaking from both sides of your mouth by saying that we need harmony in this country, while in some other instances we are seeing them antagonism.
Okay.
On the handshake, Ram, allow me to say this.
Yes.
It's a simplistic and myopic way of solving the failed state issues in Kenya. How is handshake?
You talk about the failed state issues.
Yes. State meaning the fact that a typical Turkana and a typical Pokot are still fighting for heads of cattle. They are still fighting for water resources. Means that the handshake is an ideology between individuals. It has nothing to do with Kenya. It has nothing to do with addressing the real issues we face in this country. Nothing, absolutely. It has everything to do with hunger for power. Nothing else.
Nothing else.
I don't even talk about it.
How is the relationship between you and your governor?
It is purely executive versus the legislator. The issues people look at, sometimes people say
executive?
We are fighting with the governor. That is not an issue. The issue is I came in as a representative of the people of Lesos and a representative of the people of Nandi. When I come in to address the issues that affect the people of Nandi, they look at it as if it's a personal issue between me and the governor, which is not the case.
It is not the case.
Yes.
I think just to add up on what Honorable Megeja said, I think this crop of legislators that we have at the County Assembly of Nandi are a team that looks at their roles more keenly. Because when a report is tabled at the Assembly, we must critique it. And if you critique a report in the Assembly, or you bring up an issue that you feel should be addressed by the Assembly, it doesn't mean in any way you are fighting the governor. The governor has a mandate to deliver. We have a mandate to make sure that we keep him on check. At the same time, assist, play facilitator role. That is, you look at the issues we've raised, the motion we brought, engage myself and the rest of the team at the Assembly. We've brought several motions, and if implemented, will assist the governor and the people of Nandi County to make sure that we address the needs that the people of Nandi County want.
Ram, on that note, I've always told the CECs and the others that we are not fighting. We are partners. Because when the executive succeeds, we also succeed as the county assembly.
Do they believe what you're saying?
Unfortunately, they don't. They see it as if we are fighting. For example, you raise the issue of the budget, ballooned recurrent expenditure. Of course, if we don't address it at the county assembly level, the governor will fail. So they should not see it as a fight.
Now, as Nandi County...
Maybe I want to just interject and say that when we talk of oversight, people have misconceptualized that you must always be boxing the governor or the CEC. Or even if at the national level, you must be boxing the president and the CS so that you are seen to be doing oversight. Far from the truth. The truth is what you have been given. For instance, there was a certain contractor in Nandils that was doing a very shoddy work. I had two things. I had to choose whether to go to the press and make sure that I say the governor is failing. But what I did is do a letter from my office to the CEC with two issues, either to stop the contractor or make sure that he sticks with the BQs. That is the true meaning of oversight. Leave alone these sideshows and address in prayers and also funerals and the rest. Those are politics. But if you are doing true oversight, you must do it within the institution that you have been elected. That is either the Assembly, Senate, or the county.
As we're winding it down, we have a tweet here by Nick Osgay saying, watching my MCS and I'm impressed by the level of discussion. On health, they should really focus on personnel in Nandi Hills Hospital. The level of negligence is so high. Just 3 days ago, we lost a young man due to complete negligence. All right. Now, as we wind it up, what is it that Nandi County has that other counties can come and benchmark from?
Let me start with the natural resources that we have. Nandi is a blessed county in terms of agricultural potential. My own ward of Olesos used to produce 22,000 liters of milk a day, used to receive. Unfortunately, due to fragmentation of land and other issues, that has come down. What other counties can benchmark on? They can come and, for example, the county government has done the subsidized AI services, which is working. I've used it myself. That is something I can talk about. That is something somebody can come and see that it's working. Inseminators are a phone call away. That is something that is working.
I think also we need to bring about the issue that Nandi County is also a tourist destination. Look at the scenic nature of the county. We have a history of personally being an